What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sigma Show, episode 6. Uh, as you can see, I am joined by Superman Jeff.
What's going on, everybody?
And once again, it is a week of nothing really but next gen happenings. So there isn't that much in the way of news. But we're still here. We're going to give you a great show because there are still things happening here and there. Let's jump right into it. First up, we're going to go over real quick, I guess, what we've been watching. Like, it's been a while since we've done a talk like this. So, Jeff, why don't you go ahead and let us know what have you been watching recently?
Um, Recently will be the most recent episode of Mandalorian, episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll be talking about that probably later this week. I'm trying to.
You're trying to have
Amazing.
like a more in-depth
Yeah.
discussion
I don't
video
want
on
to
it.
spoil. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. But it definitely starts to tie into the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rogue. um, you start to see characters show up. So, some of those characters were hinted at before the beginning of the season, but I think it was an amazing episode. I haven't got this excited since the episode where you were on the planet and the other bounty hunters were after you, and then all the Mandalorians showed up.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was kind of a
Yeah,
big set piece
yeah, that's
finale type thing.
like it made me jump out my seat. And so that's what I watched this week. Some minor mentions. A lot of fall TV shows are starting to come back now. They got pushed back. Most shows usually come back in around September, October, the latest. But because of COVID and everything, a lot of shows are just now coming
Yeah, a
back.
lot of stuff is just on hold in general.
Yeah, I think a lot of the CW shows aren't coming back until 2021.
I mean, but I mean, you can
Uh,
wait for those, right? You
no, you can't.
don't.
But that's all I've been watching.
All right, cool. It's a shame Blue isn't here because I actually took him up on his recommendation and watched The Great Pretenders, that Netflix anime,
I
recently.
saw that.
Yeah, it is really good. It has a vibe, and Blue mentioned it already. It has a vibe like Catch Me If You Can. Um, Also, it's very much like Ocean's 11. Like if you like heist movies and stuff like that, like it has that kind of a take on it. But I also felt it actually has a lot in common with like Cowboy Bebop in a lot of ways, like just the way the characters are connected to each other and how like it goes into their backstories. So like I thought it was actually like really well done. It's a little it gets weirdly dark in certain places that you don't expect. But like I felt like it it wasn't like heavy handed. It
Mhm.
was more like, oh wow, you know, like just to just give you like an extra layer of appreciation for the depth of the characters there. So I thought that was actually really cool.
At any point, does anybody say we got to put a team together?
You know what? Maybe not those words exactly, but I do think there's something like, oh, I got a guy for that, or like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of like ensemble
Like,
cast shenanigans going on in that show.
yeah.
So,
Like, have you ever seen that episode of Rick and Morty where he's making fun of like heist movies?
oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Rick and Morty. I should actually do that as soon as possible because I forgot. That's all out, I think, too, on what, Hulu or something.
Yeah, on Hulu. Yep.
Yes, I need to catch up with that. But other than that, I've been binging She-Ra. I think I might have mentioned this before. That show is
Mhm.
really, really good. Like surprisingly good. Doesn't have any reason to be as good as it is. Like I'm in the final season now, and like the characters in that show are so good. Like the voice acting is really great, but like the characters are so well written. They're multifaceted. Like you understand every single person's motivation for the most part. There are some characters that are annoying for the sake of being annoying, but even them, it's like on some level you still get that they're under a lot of pressure. They make mistakes, blah blah blah. But it's so well done. Like you can see the perspective of almost everyone on that show, and that's what makes their interactions super dynamic and super interesting to watch. And the fights aren't
Oh,
bad. It's like a kids show. It's geared towards girls, but or I think in general just kind of underrepresented groups because there's like a ton of representation in it. There are gay characters, like they don't make a big deal out of it at all. There are plenty of characters of color. There are non-binary characters that show up, and the thing is, like their non-binariness or whatever it is that they're representing is never the focus. You know what I mean? Like in one way, in terms of the non-binary character, it kind of plays into the kind of character they are in a very interesting way, like a very cool way. And
Hmm.
like they still, like, even so, it still doesn't kind of overshadow the plot and like
Yeah,
the character
it pretty
themselves.
much normalizes it. It's not
Yes,
like, oh, making a big point to point it out. It's just these characters happen to be non-binary and just happen to be in that story.
right.
It's not like this is what that's about. Yeah.
Right. It's really like a window into a world where none of that stuff matters, and like people are just people because like they have all these other things that they're worrying about and beefing over, like, and it's never that. You know what I mean? So like it's really really well done. I encourage everybody to watch it. Like, you should watch She-Ra. It is really really good. But I think that might actually do it for what I've been watching for the most part. With that, we'll move on into our first bit of news in the recent weeks. You guys may have heard a situation where a woman is accusing League of Legends of basing its newest character, Seraphine, off of her likeness. And like at face value, a lot of people kind of blow back because that's kind of what dudes on the internet do, is they attack women for speaking up about things. And I don't want to go, I don't really want to go down that road, but like it's what I saw happen.
Hmm.
So I read the story to get the full picture, and as it turns out, she was dating a Riot employee for some time, not a super long time, but like they were going out, and he basically told her everything that she knew. Well, she was a League of Legends player, for starters, but since he worked there, he was basically using that, to try and win her favor. He was like saying, "Oh, I can probably get a character modeled after you." Because he didn't work in that department, but he said I have the ability to do that. However, he has the ability to do that. He said that on her birthday that there would be an announcement about the character and whatnot, and he gifted her like a drawing from the art department of her made up like a specific League of Legends character, not this new one, but some other one that she liked a lot. I think like it was like her as a skin for that character,
Oh,
and so she was actually put off by these antics. Like, she didn't find them, romantic or endearing at all. And I understand some people are like, oh, he was putting in work, try to like win her favor, but in her mind, he was coming on too strong, and so she stopped, messing with him after that point. Bunch of stretch of time later goes on, and then this brand new character shows up, Seraphine, and it looks a lot like her. Like, it has her same kind of facial structure. The character wears glasses like she does on a regular basis. The character is seen in a picture, like in promo art, with a cat, which is very reminiscent of selfies that she's literally sent to the guy who was telling her this stuff about the character. And just like he said, that news came out on her birthday. So, needless to say, like, with information like that being fed to you, of course you're gonna think that that's you. But Riot has basically said, like, this character isn't based on anyone. The guy who she dated doesn't work for the department who has any say on what the characters look like. And also, he hasn't worked for Riot in upwards of a year now. So they're saying it's completely baseless. And to be
mhm.
honest, I kind of don't buy it. Like, what's your take after getting all that info?
um, these type of situations to me are very, very hard to get to the bottom of because you believe her because what would I mean? She would gain something at some point, but all of this has is like a would have to be like some type of huge coincidence, which
Right.
is
Like a series of coincidences.
yeah, like it's very hard to say, oh, well, yeah, it came out on her birthday. Oh, yeah, this, especially if she has messages and indications of that. I looked at the comparison. It looks like her.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like in some regards it doesn't, but you can say that about anything. Like I think posted the link into our chat where they were sued before for
Right.
a
That's another
soccer
aspect to this.
player. Yeah, which they used his likeness, and they were saying that their thing was, oh, we didn't use his likeness. People who see the character and see him would not put the or see the character wouldn't put the two together. And then what happened is, I think chat was brought up from somewhere that said, oh, FYI, this character was based
Right.
off
Someone who
of.
worked on the team literally admitted it innocuously, like just somewhere on the internet, saying like, yeah, this character was based on this guy. And then when it came time to pay, they were like, no, he has nothing to do with this guy. So it's a very similar situation to this, where apparently there's heat now, so they're saying like, no, of course this isn't based on anyone. But she has written messages from someone who worked there saying that this character is based on you. Like he was sort of doing it for her to like win her favor, and it just didn't work. So you might wonder,
They
well,
could
what's the big deal, right? Like, so what? You have a League of Legends character based on your likeness. Like, why is that a problem? Like, because she has said that she feels violated by this in a way. Like, do you think that holds water?
I wouldn't say it's not like it's a Playboy centerfold
Uh huh.
where you see all the titties and bitties all over the place or something like that. I think that's different, but I do think that it wasn't done in the right way to where it wouldn't be offensive or the person wouldn't feel like they were being exploited.
Mm-hmm.
So like if she has a character that she has no ties to the character, she's not getting any monopoly, she's not getting paid for the character to have her likeness. It wasn't promoted as if she was giving her consent to have it done.
She
Um,
basically didn't. Yeah.
yeah. So it's not like they said, hey, this character is based off of you. You can do some photo ops with it. You can do a commercial with it or something. You can show up in the champion spotlight and we'll give you this or that. They could have approached it another way. I don't think they did a very good job of de escalating the situation. They just kind of deny,
Right.
and which makes it a lot worse.
I agree. Um, and
But violation, I don't see how. I think she's being a little extra with that part. No offense, I'm just being honest.
no, I mean,
I,
yeah,
I
I mean, I just want to get your honest take on it because
yeah, it's, I
she
don't. I,
in the article she specifically says that people have already made like pornography based on the League of Legends
that's
character,
it.
right? And
That's
like,
different.
I mean, of course, that's not Riot that's doing that. That's the greater community at large. And so, if she sees that, like, she in her head knows because the person told her this character is you, and then you go and see that, I get why she's like taken aback. You know what I mean? Like that can be kind of jarring and shocking. And again, it's happening to her, so I can't put myself in her shoes to say like I wouldn't react in a similar way. But yeah, it leads me to believe that this might just be what Riot does. Like like maybe their formula for making hundreds of characters that people actually like is to base them on other people that other people like. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy is popular or this guy has mannerisms that I connect with. I'm gonna make a character based on that person and then change just enough so that
To win
they don't
back
have
the
to
same.
give them credit. And it seems like this is a thing that's happening based on that previous case. So I do think that Riot needs to maybe get their stuff together.
Yeah. Watch Dogs Legion does a good job of, it says that in the when the screen's coming on, any characters that have likeness to anybody, the this was not intended. These characters are completely randomly generated.
Mm-hmm.
They're not based off of anybody else. Boom. So if you see somebody that looks like you, that person just happens to look like you.
Like you
You
just a
look like
generic looking dude,
yeah, you a
unfortunately.
generic. Yes, right. I think they need to do some I can't say fact checking, some facial checks where if we're making a character, we need to be doing our background. Like, where did you get this idea from this character from? I mean, and most people do base their art off of things they've seen in their
Right,
life,
yeah.
but when it's so specific, then that's when there's an issue. Um, and there's could have been things that could have been if you based it off of her, which could have been fine, but you should have changed things to the point where anybody looking at her and looking at the character wouldn't have said, "Yeah, they look very similar." Not, they might have the same cheekbone, and she might, you might have gave her hair from your mom or something. You can mix
Yeah,
and
like a
match stuff,
mismatch
but
to make like a new
yeah,
thing for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, in this situation, like it was fed to her as I'm doing this for you. Like, look, I'm working with these people to make you in the game. Like, isn't that great? As opposed to, would you want to be put in this game? I have the ability to do that. Is that something that
you
you're
want.
okay with? And then she would basically say, yeah, that would be cool. Do that for me. And then you wouldn't have this issue. You know what I mean?
And then the thing is this, like, even though he's been gone a year, this character could have been in development way beyond a year. We don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, oh, he left a year, he had no creative control of it. But if you're buddies with somebody, say, hey, I got this art of this person, I think you should kind of use for. I know you guys are working on a new character. I mean, depending on your relationship, that's something they probably do, especially if they were stumped on coming up with
Right.
a look, you know. So it's just sad. They like I said, they could have definitely used this as publicity, positive publicity, as opposed to a negative interaction, which is what it refolded down to. They just said, "We didn't intend that for that to happen. If it, I mean, it does resemble you. Would you be okay with, you know, I mean, we'll pay you for this. Would you be okay doing some stuff with the character to help promote it?"
Right. And Danny in the YouTube chat says, "Yeah, the whole situation sounds really sus." Agreed. But that's kind of where it lies, right? Because Riot's probably not going to admit to any wrongdoing at this point. If she files the suit, what the document says is that the only case she really has is some sort of violation of privacy, which may go somewhere, which may not. In which case, I'm assuming Riot would have to change at least the face of the character, maybe some other aspects of the personality, because like it was just all these things that kind of just lined up really
Yeah,
perfectly.
because there's the law, but then there's doing what's right, and you want to give the impression that despite what the law is, you're going to do what's right by your fan base, by the consumers, by the person who was affected by this, you know, egregious breach of, you know, personal space. So
Mm.
like,
And PZ was asking this about the lady and the cat. Yeah, we were going over that
like
just now. If you have anything to add, let us know. But we're going to move on to our next topic in the meantime, which is actually all about next gen stuff. But we're going to flip it because unfortunately, neither Jeff nor I have been able to get our hands on any next gen systems as of yet. And that's kind of part of what I wanted to go into because I've been seeing all over the internet people who have been able to get their stuff, you know, posting their boxes or posting with pictures, and then like all sorts of hate follow it. Like,
oh man,
oh well, I don't know why you would do that. Like you're showing off, blah 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 blah. Or like, because
what?
there was like the one picture of a guy who had like a bunch of PlayStations and like one Series X, yeah, like
Yeah.
in the middle of it, and people were like, why would you do that? Like, what are you trying to scalp them? Blah blah blah. Point blank. Period. I feel like the other big thing that I'm hearing is I never buy stuff at launch because it's always broken or it has bugs and whatnot. And everyone who's buying stuff now, you guys are beta testers and bug testers, and once all that's finished, then I'll go out and get them when they're good now, like after all the updates and stuff and they're stable or whatever. Which I personally think is
Yeah,
kind of
that's
projecting and
that's from like the
BS.
early 2000s.
So first off, tell us your story in terms of next gen stuff because we've both been trying to get our hands on, at the very least, an
Mhm.
Xbox Series X, and have not had the best of luck so far. So where do you stand right now?
For me.
Oh yeah, you. There's like
Oh, I was
nobody
in the
else.
chat. Yeah. Well, so yeah, me and you kind of partnered up, and we were. I mean, so on the 10th I didn't go to sleep. I got in late. I didn't want to go to sleep. I slept from like 11 to like 11:45. Set an alarm. Got up. Sitting at the computer. Multiple windows open. My phone open. I had my girl check in. So it was like soon as 12 o'clock hit, I was told that Target would have had some. You
Mm-hmm.
know, me and you both went to Target. We were communicating. Target just kept saying out of stock. Never got any
Yeah, nothing
indication.
changed on that website at all.
No, I even called multiple targets to make sure that to collect information to see what lined up, and what they were telling me was pretty much the same from target to target. 12 o'clock, you'll be able to order online, but you'll be able to pick it up in the store. They don't want people lined up at the store waiting, so that was their way around that. So nothing from Target. I make it to New Egg. I see somebody on Twitter say New Egg. Make it to New Egg. New Egg says sold out. They only had some Series S left. I ain't getting no Series S. I'll just keep my Xbox. I checked Best Buy. I was like, okay, I checked Best Buy. Best Buy didn't have any. Walmart was saying 12 p.m. the next day, so that there was no point of even checking it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making around the Microsoft store, loading the page, loading the page, loading the page. You know, keep loading the page, keep reloading, keep reloading. Finally get through. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, keep going. I'm gonna pay. I'm not getting my hoops up yet. Put my payment information in. Okay, okay, okay. Go a little further. Go to next shipping information in. Okay. Here's the tester. I hit pay, and it went through. Oh, awesome. Boom. First thing I checked. Check my history. It's in the history. Okay. First thing I check, I'm like, oh, I got a notification. They took that out quick. Okay.
Right, it was
So
immediate.
yeah, I'm like, it's done then. I went to bed at 12:30. Had to get up at 3 in the morning to go to work. So I only got 2.5 hours of sleep so I could hit this thing. So um it was pending for multiple days, no information. I start freaking myself out because I start checking Twitter from what everybody's saying about having the same situation
Hmm.
where it's pending, there's no information. It says shipping December 23rd. Me and you going back and forth. I keep bothering you about if yours updated. I'm trying to collect information. I was driving myself crazy because what one person was saying, oh well, it's just a placeholder. Another person saying, no, they told me that's the date, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna forget it until I get a final answer from Microsoft or something.
Hmm.
But they never put out a statement. They never contacted you. And then like yesterday, my money got refunded, and I'm guessing they're gonna charge it again when it actually ships. But I still don't know that. Nobody's
Because
communicated. There's
nothing
no
changed on the
email.
actual order, right? Like it still says that it's pending, and that
Yeah.
you've paid the 500 and tax, and
Yes.
and that's worrisome because on my end, like our sites were identical when I managed to get one that night as well. Like on my phone, like it wouldn't work on the PC for whatever reason, but on my
Mm.
phone it went through. But I kept actually getting bounced back because earlier in the day I had bought a 4K monitor for my computer, and then I had paid some bills or whatever. So then this most recent purchase, it was declining the card, and I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" I get a text from Bank of America saying,
Is this okay?
is this you?" I'm like, "Oh yes, 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 yes," and then it finally went through after that. So right now, mine also says pending, but the money that was taken out is still out. Like it hasn't been refunded, like you're saying. So I don't know what that means for either you or for me right now. So like it's worrisome because yeah, I
In
don't think there's going to
communication.
be more consoles
Mm-mm.
in like in the near future.
Some people were boasting about they might have some on Black Friday,
I was
stuff
hearing
like
that
that. I'm
for
like,
PlayStation. I haven't been
uh,
hearing of that from Microsoft though.
and here's the thing: I am an Xbox enthusiast. I think PlayStation actually handled this launch a lot better.
Hmm.
Um, they had two rollouts of pre-orders. On top of that, if they're gonna have some ready for um, Black Friday, Xbox all they had was the original pre-orders, and then they're not expecting to have any more until December 23rd. That's gonna forget about making any more money through the holiday season because people, if they want to, kids want to, they want to do Christmas shopping, they're not going to be able to do that. So PlayStation is going to have the edge, and I think the biggest thing when you are a retailer of anything, if there is a problem if things aren't going to go the way the customer expects it, you need to communicate that.
Yeah, you
That
got
needs
to
to
get
be
out there and
something.
explain and
Yes,
say
yes,
what the next steps are for the people who are looking for the thing that you're trying to sell them. Because like Xbox is just kind of celebrating, oh, the demand is super high. We set a new record in terms of console launch sales and whatnot, which I believe all that. But there's a
yeah.
bunch of people who still want it and can't get their hands on it, and Microsoft is like doing a victory lap as opposed to trying to sell or just get more of the product out to people, or at least let us know what the holdup is, right?
And my question: did you count my order as part of
As
your
the
consoles
sale, right?
growth?
Yeah.
Because I didn't get it. So like, what's
It's a
going
good
on?
question.
So a cool thing was I found out you can buy a Series X on your Xbox One console.
Right, yeah, people were successfully getting the upgrade by doing it through the console. Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing until I came across it on the Microsoft website and went and tried it. I mean, it kept giving me an error, but I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. But like you said, if a customer knows about something, especially if they're already loyal to your brand, it will excuse a lot of, they will overlook a lot of stuff if they're made aware of these things either in the beginning or when they occur, how you plan to resolve the issue. And they didn't do any of that, which left a bad taste in my mouth because I'm like, I'm not even buying any games until I got to hear about what's going
Yeah,
on.
because now
But
you
yeah,
feel like hurt and betrayed and whatnot, right?
my feelings.
But speaking of which, on the other side is that is people who did get their consoles, um, immediately you're seeing across the internet, oh, Xbox isn't my Xbox Series X is on fire. It's smoking out of the vents. I'm getting frozen screens. It's like making weird sounds when I put the disc in. On the PS5 side, similar issues with the console freezing and whatnot. Big bug report where like there's a download queue issue where you try to download specific, like it could be any game on the system, and then nothing starts, and then that game can't be downloaded, and now you can't download. Well, no, you can download other games, but just that specific game is like kind of stuck in a weird limbo, right? And all the response to these is this kind of smug, oh, I knew it. I knew that there were going to be problems on launch, and that's why I waited. That's why I never get my console at the start. And that just screams like BS to me. That
Yeah.
sounds either you
It's like
you didn't have the budget for it right now, like so you weren't ever going to be able to get that console at launch, or you're I I think that might just be it. Like you can't afford it right now.
and that's usually what it is. And you don't want to say that. You just want to be like, I never do it because that's just there's always issues with it. And it's like, it's like back in the day during the Salem witch trials, you just call somebody a witch because it was the easiest way to explain something else. It's like that is old with like yeah, there are going to be some issues, but a lot of those things are fake. Like they had to issue a statement saying don't blow vape smoke into your
Right, yeah, P's on
Xbox.
the one is saying I heard the smoke thing was false. Yes, that was absolutely fake. And the thing was, when news outlets were getting wind of this and reporting this is false, there were people who were going back at them saying like, no, because the guy called customer service and blah blah blah. I'm like, but you're not that guy. So what are you like? What are you talking about? And here's my my hypothesis. Right, the first one of these might have actually gone that far, where someone maybe mistakenly put their vape near the Xbox. And because the way the vents work, it like sucks in air from the back and then shoots it out of the top. They got really concerned because they just saw a bunch of smoke coming out of their Xbox One, called customer service, blah, blah, blah. Didn't know what to do. Come to find out, it was probably a situation like this. Like it was just taking the vape smoke from somewhere. That's my hypothesis. No real info to kind of base that on. But the fact that so many people were doing it and then going on the internet to report, oh, my Xbox is burning or whatever, just strikes me as odd. Like why? Like that's a very strange thing to try and get like internet fame or clout for. Like I've never
Yeah.
understood. Like this is like the same logic behind people sending like chain emails or like chain letters in the mail. Like you just want a thing to spread, even though it's completely made up and false. And
Yeah.
for some reason, that gives you a sense of accomplishment because yes, I got it to spread.
And it's just for me it's only with video game consoles because the new iPhone came out. You saw none of that. Oh, I'm not buying it because there's going to be issues with it. No, people were in line to get it. You didn't see
Exactly.
any of that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think people pick and choose what they decide because it's technology has a chance to have bugs, to have issues. It's no
Yeah,
matter
every
if
single
it's
device is
phone.
there's always going to
Yeah.
be something because it's technology, like it's electricity. It's a volatile thing. Like you're going to have issues with all sorts of stuff. Like I'm pretty sure everyone here who is watching has played video games for a long time. You've probably had an issue with a video game console at some point in your life. Like it's going to happen. But for the most part, you're not going to tell me that every video game console you've had has had multiple issues, right? Like, no, like it's kind of a roll of the dice type situation. Like, I had to, the Red Ring of Death was kind of a different situation because that was a legit, like, widespread issue, right? Like, that was
Yeah.
a factory recall type issue. You know what I mean?
And sometimes it didn't hit you. I had my Xbox for a year before
Yeah,
I
and yeah,
got
that
it.
didn't come about right away. That was a thing that happened over time. Like, it was something Xbox probably couldn't even test for because of the nature of how long it took for it to start happening, right? This PS5 bug is a little different because it is a thing that apparently they could have tested for. Just to explain it, apparently it's a bug where you try and download a game, it doesn't seem to be downloading. When you check the download queue, the game is there, but there's no progress. So that stops, like you're unable to delete it because it's kind of stuck or whatnot. So whatever that game is, you can't download anymore. You can download other games around it, but that game is kind of like in the ether. And the only way to fix that is to wipe the system entirely. So you're like, but luckily, I mean, it's a new console, so maybe you're not wiping
Yeah.
too much once
Yeah.
that happens. But it also seems to be brought on by trying to install something that has more space than what's on the system.
Oh.
So that's something to kind of keep your eye on if you have a PS5 and you were worried about catching a bug like this. But either
Yeah.
way, like that's something that they can probably patch out early on, and it's not detrimental to the experience.
No, yeah, I agree with that. Like, so you either got to sacrifice the game or just wait. Like, I'm not gonna play this game, so this will be the first one I download. So when it happens, I can leave this one alone. So,
Right. Danny Green says that's kind of sounded like the exploding Samsung thing. Only happened to a group of 10 phones and users, and everyone goes nuts. Exactly. Like it was a big meme actually, and it was kind of it was ammo for the iPhone enthusiasts, like the Apple fanboys, basically saying like, "Oh, look at your phones are hand grenades." Blah blah blah. Like for years after they were saying Samsung phones explode. It was just the 10, and it was just a couple, and it was a major defect, a super dangerous defect. But that's all you need is that tiny fraction of the whole product to have them scared enough to recall all of it and to give them such a blemish that people years after are going to say there might be something wrong with these devices. Like all the years before that where the phone came out and it was absolutely fine doesn't stand for anything. You just need to mess up the one time. And that's why this kind of thing is very dangerous. It's detrimental to a company's reputation. Like Xbox
yeah, and
had to say something about the vape thing when I'm sure they would have rather ignored it as opposed to bring any attention to it because it was absolutely false. But they at least they did it jokingly. Like they put on their support Twitter. Yeah,
yeah.
please. Like we can't believe we have to say this, but please don't put vape smoke into your Xbox Series X.
Like when you do things like that, it stops them from answering the serious questions like, "Where's my Xbox?" Like, that's
Right. Some
question
people need to know where their Xboxes are, and you got
yeah.
fools putting vape smoke in the brand new electronic. Like that can't be good for that device. Oh boy. Lampy says all software has bugs. It's just a case of if they've been found or not. You can't test for everything. That's true. Like it's
Yep.
like it even in games, like people don't say, "Oh, I'm not gonna get the game at launch because I'm waiting for all the bugs to be tested out." Like that happens all the time. There are always day one patches for stuff that devs haven't cleaned up yet at the time of launch. Like
Yep.
that doesn't really stop people from jumping into the stuff that they want to jump into. Like it's just this hate from the people who are
Yeah.
getting into it that I don't understand.
And the thing of it is they say it takes a whole village to raise a child. It takes a whole community to find the bugs. Because how many videos? Like I was playing Destiny, and I posted a video of not even a bug, but more of an exploit. And you can exploit this to do this. Within hours, that exploit was fixed. Now, Bungie had no idea that exploit was there, but because players were playing the game and they came across it
Mm-hmm.
and made videos of it, they then became aware of it. So we, as the community, help find some of these bugs. So that's our service to the game. I mean, we're not on payroll, but we're doing a service for other players.
Yeah,
So
and like the idea that somehow degrades us, like, oh, like you guys who were first playing and experiencing this stuff, I'll let you handle that so that it can be ready for me when I jump in because I need my thing to be perfect when it comes out. Like it's never gonna be perfect, but I don't know. It's just that attitude just rubs me the wrong way. If if you get what I mean. Lamb says if bugs were really an issue, no one would be buying Ubisoft games at launch. That's a really good point.
You're not. I was playing Watch Dogs Legion. I think that game crashed. I played 8 hours. That game probably crashed around 20 times.
Jeez. Yeah, and I watched the Digital Foundry reviews for that game running on all the different platforms, and apparently the Xbox One version is the worst. Like Ubisoft kind of just didn't do any optimization for it whatsoever.
As soon as like you're about to get into like a big combat situation and the frames pick up, that's it.
Unfortunate.
Great game, but bugs.
But I mean, on the PC front, because that's also upgrading to next gen quality stuff, right? I've also been having no luck because apparently the new 3000 series NVIDIA GPUs all got sold out. Now AMD, which launched their competing brand of graphics cards, those are supposed to drop on the 18th. I went into Micro Center when I picked up my monitor and asked them, "Are you guys going to have cards on the 18th?" They said, "Yes, we tend to have stuff like that when it comes out, but we don't know how many." And in the case of like the Nvidia cards that came in like the week prior, there were people who camped out of the store 2 days before. 2 days before they were camped out trying to get those graphics cards. So he was saying like the best I could tell you is just to get here early or whatnot. We'll probably have them. Won't know how many. So my current
I
plan,
didn't think people still did that.
right? But my current plan is not to get there any days before, but at the very least they open at like 9 a.m. here. Is to get there like maybe a couple hours before to scope it out. Like if there's like a long line by then, I might just turn around and go home.
Yeah,
But
that makes
I'm hoping like the people who are gung ho enough to go out there days before will probably be the only people in line for those days. And if I can just get there early enough the same day, I can at least be like third or fourth in line. You know what I mean? And like they should have more than 3 of these graphics cards, I would hope.
yeah, because even if you wait in line days before, they might not know how many they have until like the day before. So you
Mm-hmm.
get there, like I've been camping out for 2 days, and you guys only got three. I'm like the fourth person. It's like, and especially with this contagious virus going around, you definitely don't want to be camping out. And a lot of places, that's why they did buy online, pick up at the store.
Mm-hmm.
They can avoid all of the, and they even give you a time for you to pick it up. It's not like you could just
Yeah, you
pop
just
up every.
come whenever, right? You
Yeah.
like just space it out so like you don't get a flood as soon as you can.
But definitely, people be careful with the camping out. You might camp for one thing and go home with something else.
That's a good point. Like, and I do want to say on the note of the online orders thing, they said that some stores wouldn't have any in store. Like you would pay online and then they would just ship it to you. So you weren't gonna get that instant console anyway. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the idea of getting the thing on launch day, the launch days have already passed. But at this point, don't expect to like go in a store and pick up the thing you want. Like do your order, wait for it. Like that's kind of all we can really do. The Micro Center it's a big building. They do let people in that store. They gotta wear the coverings and whatnot. So that's gonna be a different situation. But I don't know. Like there's a lot of money that you have to put into upgrading into next generation, especially if you want to
Yes.
kind of cover everything. Like I do, still intend to get a PS5 at some point. I just don't know when. Like it's low on my list because luckily, and I'm glad PlayStation decided to do this. Most of their first party games are available on the PS4. Like I bought Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PS4, and I started like the very beginning of it. It's really fun so far. Like I don't feel like I'm missing out on that much, though. I am kind of eager to get my hands on that DualSense controller. Like I'm hearing nothing but praise for like how the triggers like make things feel, and like the rumble is like kind of changing the game in terms of next gen stuff. I'm really excited to see how that affects games. I do hope that they implement that functionality if you decide to use that controller on PC. Because like if you have the same game on 2 platforms and they're using it a certain way, I hope that you can take advantage of it by playing it on PC and it's not just locked to the PlayStation.
That'll probably be like a tax pickup for me, not a probably like tax stop. I was like, go get one of these PS5s.
And you would still want to get the disc one, even though for PS5, because I mean you can save $100 if you just go digital. I've been really heavily considering it right now.
Yep, so digital because I don't think I really even own any. I think I own one game that's actual disc for PlayStation. Like even Spider Man and everything else is God of War. All those are just on my digital downloads.
The thing is, I didn't want to put money into expanding the storage on my PS4, so that's why I started going with
Discs.
discs. But then also I usually buy all my PlayStation games like way after the fact. But I don't know. I think it might be time to just say goodbye to the disc, at least on because like even though I play my Xbox more, I have way less discs for my Xbox than I do for my PS5 because I played it less for some reason. I would buy stuff on sale because it was a disc. Like, oh, this is like a cheap disc version
Mm.
of the thing, so I'll just get it like that.
Yeah, you do lose out on that because a lot of times you'll find a disc for cheaper, but then the digital version will still be the same price.
Yeah.
I've
So
seen a couple of things.
I'm hoping they do get better with the digital sales and stuff because that's kind of the last straw. It's like if that parity reaches, then I really don't have any excuse to be holding on to a disc drive. But I think I'm going to force myself to get the digital edition of the PS4 to save myself money because I know I probably won't play it as much as my PC and Xbox. And eventually, I'm going to need Well, actually, just I upgraded to a 4K game capture device. Well, it does pass through, so it's kind of a half measure. Like I can't stream in 4K, and honestly, I probably shouldn't stream in 4K. Like that's dumb. Like no, don't watch a 4K stream. Like that's just mad bandwidth for no reason. So it's a pass through, so I'll stream in 1080, but I'll be able to actually view it in 4K. I just got the monitor. I need to get the rest of these consoles. I need to get the graphics card. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. It's expensive, but I'm hoping it'll pay for itself in the stuff that I'll be able to cover because I have access to it. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. It's an investment.
Right. Exactly.
Can
That
you
makes
write
me feel
that?
better about it.
But actually, like a person, could you write that online? Oh, your taxes is like a business expense.
I mean, I don't want to get into it on a live stream,
We'll talk
but
about that
yes,
later.
I could. I haven't yet.
Okay.
But we're almost out of time actually. Anybody in chat have any other anecdotes about next gen stuff that they want to get into? Because it looked like the viewer count is like ramping up. I may actually start these streams later in the day if that kind of helps with people getting to these streams on time. But you can always watch them over, on the VOD on the YouTube channel at the Open Party Gaming or on Sigma Gears 9's Twitch. But yeah, I don't see anything coming in on the chat. So I guess we'll wrap it up. Jeff, do you have anything else coming up this week that you want people to tune into?
Yeah. So Monday we'll be doing Monday Night Siege. We'll be back with Rainbow Six Siege. Last week was a lot of fun. We actually got some private games going. We actually had
Yeah, we had 4-on-4s, right? Yeah, that was
yeah,
actually really fun.
that was some fun. It was even more fun than playing online. So playing with people always adds more to the game. After that, we got Thursday. I'm going to be doing Guardian Thursday. Will be back for Destiny 2. We're doing some more Beyond Light, playing around with that. Then we're going to try to do a Mandalorian discussion video this week. Discussion stream. I'm going to see when Sigma's free and if he's up to date, and then we'll figure it out as I go.
I'll be up to date. I already watched the first 2 episodes. Just the third one I haven't seen in completion yet.
And then you'll be back later, right?
Right, yeah. So Super Smash Sunday is still going on today. I don't think Jeff and Blue will be joining me, so it'll be a solo one. But those are the best kinds because that's when I bring out Toon Link and I try to just thrash everybody who comes through. So definitely show up for that. I think we call that Super Smash Sunday hard mode. But also, I do believe Escapist Game Night is going to be back this week as well. Like Amy, Jesse, and I did kind of a pseudo game night stream on our own personal channels because Nick was out of it thanks to trying to rest up for the showcase this week, which you guys should definitely check out. The full video was on the Escapist channel now. I helped him and Jack interview devs and whatnot, so that's really cool. All the individual interviews are going to be coming out over a long period of time, so there's no telling when a specific interview with me in it is going to come out. So just check out the whole showcase for now if you want to see any of it. That's on there.
Yeah, definitely check it out, especially if you love indie games. It was a great place to kind of come across indie games you might not have come across otherwise. And it definitely gave me something to put on my radar. So definitely check out the showcase if you love indie games.
Davis Obi on YouTube chat. I believe I know that is my cousin. Is there any word on when the new consoles will be back in stock? We talked about it a little bit earlier, but the only info we have is that PlayStation 5 will likely have new consoles at retailers around Black Friday. So you're going to have to keep your eye on all those Black Friday promotions from the big retailers like Walmart. Matter of fact, I don't know about Walmart, but I think GameStop. No, it's Best Buy that will not have anything. But Walmart, Target, GameStop, Sony Direct, like all of those big guys will probably have PlayStations in stock. I don't know for sure about Xbox. Maybe, but I haven't.
Keep an eye out because they're doing like an all month Black Friday. They're not just doing it on Black Friday.
Yeah, a lot of stores are like starting their deals like as soon as possible.
Yeah.
All right, Levy said I had to talk to the transient creative lead. It was awkward. Right, because I recently reviewed the game. The game was featured in the showcase, and we had an interview with him that I happened to be on, and I kind of trashed his game. And I also streamed his game for a post 3MR where we spent half of it trying to play something else because we just weren't having any fun with it. It was actually it's one of the most fun streams I think we've done, even though it was kind of a train wreck of a stream. But it was at the expense of Transient, which kind of once you talk to the guy who made it and see that he put a lot of work into it. I wasn't trying to denigrate him, but it's just the project didn't come together, and he was aware of that. Like he kind of owned up to, like in the future they want to do this thing and that thing differently, like maybe expand the team with more specialists because like they were doing a lot of different things with just a team of 3 people and whatnot.
Oh
So,
wow.
but that's stuff that you can see in the showcase video, so definitely check that out. Thanks, Jeff, for coming through. Really appreciate it. That's going to do it for episode 6. Thanks to everybody who's watching. Be here next week. Maybe we'll try to adjust the time. Like the thing is, I don't want this to run into the Smash stream that comes in the afternoon. Try to give people some time to take a break. But if it's too early, let us know. Like hit me up on my Twitter, SigmaGears9, and let me know if it'd be easier to catch if this was at like a later time in the day or something like that, and we can talk about moving it. But thanks everybody for watching. That's gonna do it. Peace. Oh, Jesse just showed up. Bye, Jesse.